Hi there, I'm Luan with Tagawa Gardens in Centennial, Colorado. Can I interest you in growing some of your own veggies in containers and being able to brag about the harvest you get? If the answer is yes, you have come to the right place. I want to share with you 3 of my favorite veggies that do great in containers and really produce, starting with tomatoes. Tomatoes are the #1 favorite homegrown vegetable. Cucumbers, so refreshing on a hot summer day and so easy to grow. And peppers, specifically shishito peppers. You do not want to get between me and my pan-seared shishitos. For all 3 of these plants, I'll be using big 18-inch plastic pots with plenty of drainage holes. Now we really can't go any further without talking about soil. Anytime you're growing in containers, never skimp on the soil. Buy the very best soil the budget will allow. You can't have happy plants without happy roots. And you won't have happy roots with bargain basement soil. Now I know that really good soil is expensive. So if you used container gardens last year and you didn't have any major problems with disease, you can reuse some of that soil. I've already dumped out last year's soil and mixed it 50-50 with new soil. It's this refreshed soil that I'll put back into my pots. You don't want to just layer new soil over old. Mix it up so everything in the container is uniform. Now it's time to plant, starting with our tomatoes. There are lots of tomatoes that are meant to be grown in containers. They're generally smaller plants that produce smaller tomatoes. But if you want a tomato plant that is bigger and gives larger fruit, with just a little effort, you can grow many of these in containers too. Here's where really good signage comes in. The signs we use at Tagawa's have so much information, like how long it takes that variety to mature from the time you plant it and how tall it may get. This ace tomato can get up to 4 feet tall, maybe taller, so it'll definitely need a cage or pole to keep it upright. Don't forget to use one of the best tools a gardener has, your smartphone. Take a nice close-up shot of the signs. It makes a great reference later on. As some of you may know, there's a little trick we use when we're planting tomatoes. It's a trick we wouldn't even dream of using on almost any other plant. Over time, tomatoes develop bumps and nodes along the stem. Think of them as roots just waiting to grow. The points where the leaves attached to the stem will grow roots too, if they're buried in the soil. More roots make for a stronger plant, so I'll set this bare stem, root ball and all, several inches into the soil, and then backfill, leaving just the top of the plant exposed. Next, I'll set in whatever support I've decided to use. In this case, just a simple tomato cage, which I may need to reinforce later as the plants get heavier. I'll secure the growing plant to the cage with Velcro tape or clips, whatever's handy that won't damage the plant. I'll water this thoroughly to help settle the soil, and then I'll take it to its nice sunny new home. Planting our next 2 veggies is a whole lot more straightforward than tomatoes. As it happens, I like cucumbers almost as much as I like those fresh tomatoes. My new favorite variety is this salt and pepper cuke. It produces smallish, yellowish white fruit that I find irresistible. With 3 little cucumber plants per pot, I only need 1 pot for my nice big 18-inch container. We have our good soil either new or refreshed from last year. If the roots on this plant were tied, I'd open them up a little bit, but they look quite fine. I'm going to set it in here, gently backfill, and firm it in just a bit. Cucumbers are clearly vining plants for the most part, so I'm going to need some kind of a trellis to help support this little guy. I thought I'd make a support of my very own with these bamboo stakes. Set them in at the very edge of the pot. Then gather them at the top with a rubber band and reinforce that with some strong twine. Last but definitely not least, my much loved shishito peppers. You can grow lots of different varieties of peppers in containers, but these zippy little gems are my go-to. I can easily fit 3 of these shishito plants into my big 18-inch pot. They aren't going to get all that big, but boy, are they prolific. When you're growing anything in containers, veggies, flowers, whatever, just remember that these above-ground pots will dry out a whole lot faster than something growing in the ground. Consistent, deep watering, where you see the water coming out the bottom of the pot, that's key to having an abundant and flavorful crop. Plants that get too dry often produce small, tasteless, or even bitter fruit. If you have questions about growing veggies in containers, that's perfectly normal. When should you fertilize, and with what? And how do you manage pest control? If you have those questions, come see the people at Dick's Corner at Tagawas. They are ready, anxious, and willing to answer all of your questions and help as much as they possibly can. Do indeed, come see us at Tagawas. We are your garden store, and so much more. If you like this video, please share it with your friends and find others like it on our Tagawa Gardens YouTube channel. Also, find us on Facebook and Instagram.